Now, when I think of mutations in humans, I automatically think of the X-Men. Sorry, not sorry, I did love that universe growing up. I would have loved to be a mutant. I know they're persecuted and oppressed in the X-Men universe, but who wouldn't want to have a cool superpower? And I mean, people of color are oppressed in this world, so I mean, I'd rather be oppressed and have a superpower than just be oppressed. You know what I mean? I think we can all agree. What is up, you guys? Hope you're having an awesome day. I'm your host, Eamon Hassan, and welcome back to another video. Now, before I get into this one, I just want to preface this with the fact that I know the title of this video says scary mutations, but mutations are not scary, you guys. They're uncontrollable, they're naturally occurring. So if you have any of the ones that I'm mentioning on this list today, then please take the title with a grain of salt. You know I mean no disrespect, I never do. But with that in mind, let's just get into it. These are the top 10 scary mutations you may have. Starting us off at number 10 is the reptilian heart. Now, I'm not the biggest fan of reptiles, honestly. I know a lot of our subscribers are, and you guys routinely DM me pictures of your pet snakes and stuff, and it's actually really cute. I feel like if I had to keep a reptile as a pet, it'd probably be a turtle, you know, those mini turtles, because they're just very cute. Growing up, all my friends had those, and I never had one, and I want one. Either way, this story has nothing to do with turtles, so I don't even know how I got to this point. Either way, back in 2010, a 59-year-old man was admitted to the hospital due to chest pain, fatigue, and an increasing shortness of breath. The medicines that usually helped in that situation were not, so doctors decided to do an x-ray on him instead. What they found was honestly astounding. The man had a snake heart, which is like a reptilian heart. That is when a heart has 3 chambers instead of 4, and it all happens during your embryonic development. And when the heart starts forming in the womb, it resembles the heart of a fish. Then later on, the atria and ventricles get separated. Yet this is the second time in human history that a person has had a case of reptilian heart. This is a case of atavism, where a modern specimen randomly has a trait from a distant evolutionary ancestor, which is pretty cool, to be honest. Imagine this guy had no idea he had only 3 heart chambers his whole life. He was doing fine. Coming in at number 9 is ECTRODACTYLY, also referred to as lobster claw or ostrich foot. Now, this mutation results in people having split hands and feet, and there are 2 types of this mutation. Now, the first one is when the person is missing their middle digit, and in place of it, there is a large cleft. In type 1, webbing between the fingers is also very possible. However, in type 2, the person actually has a 5th digit and no cleft at all. Interestingly enough, both types can be found in a single family, which I think is just very cool. Now, ectrodactyly is caused by a mutation in chromosomes 7, 3, 10, or 2, and there's a 50% chance of a parent passing the mutated gene onto their offspring. Now, despite having less or more digits on their hands and feet, people who have the mutation are completely normally functioning individuals. I mean, you just have an extra digit, or not. At number 8, we have multiple breastises. You know, breastises, like how Kanye says in Drunken Love, the remix. Either way, this one is pretty self-explanatory. This mutation is known as accessory breast syndrome, and it results in the person having more than 2 boobs. How much you want to bet a man came up with the name of that? Accessory breast syndrome. Of course it was a man. Now, polymastia, as it's scientifically known as, is another form of atavism, and it's usually more commonly found in males, not females. They usually end up having an extra nipple, like Harry Styles or Chandler Bing, but when a female is affected, it's more likely that she just has an actual extra breast. It takes place during embryonic development as well, when the breast tissue is developing. Usually it'll develop along the milk line, and the unnecessary extra tissue will disintegrate and be reabsorbed into the body, but in this instant, the extra tissue just doesn't disintegrate and results in another breast. I remember the first time I saw the woman with a uni boob, with like 3 boobs in one during high school, and I was just blown away. Like, which one do you even breastfeed with, if not all 3? Filling on number 7 slot is PROTEUS. Now, this is a very rare overgrowth condition that affects the organs, bones, and chin. Now, it affects people unevenly, meaning their bodies will not look symmetrical as a result. So PROTEUS leads to many health issues like pulmonary embolism. It can cause seizures as well as mental disabilities. A lot of people who are affected develop lesions on their skin that look like thickened skin with just grooves on top. This one is not environmental. It again happens where there's a mutation in the ATK1 gene. But this gene controls things like division, growth, and death, so I mean, it's a pretty important gene, just letting you know. Now, at number 6 is polycephaly, aka having more than one head, common in animals like snakes, but very uncommon for humans. Although some people are two-faced, that is a thing. Not that I'm salty about it, you know what I mean? just meet those people. Now, either way, this is a very rare and severe case of being conjoined twins, and it only occurs in 1 in 50,000 to 200,000 pregnancies, so the chances of you having it are super, super low. It obviously occurs when the twins are splitting in the womb, and a defect in how well, or I guess unwell, they end up splitting up. A person with polycephaly is still considered two people. I mean, the person has two heads, two minds, two personalities, however, they just share the same body, sharing all major organs, but being in control of their half of the body. Now, occasionally, and only occasionally, the second head acts more parasitic in nature, and most removal surgeries result in the death of that person. Coming in at number 5 is Waardenburg syndrome, and honestly, I think this is the most common one on the list because I've seen people with the syndrome just become insanely famous because they have it. Now, this rare genetic condition results in some kind of hearing loss as well as pigmentation deficiency, and that usually shows up in the form of a person having 2 different colored eyes, patches of light skin, or a white patch of hair on their head. Now, there are 3 types of Waardenburg syndrome, with the 3rd type including malformed hands and arms. It's caused when there are mutations of any of the genes that affect migration and division of your neural crest cells during your embryonic development. Type 1 and 3 come from the mutation in the PAX3 gene, whereas type 2 happens when the MITF gene is mutated. At number 4 is hypertrichosis. Now, this one is a very popular one online, so I feel like you guys have definitely seen pictures of it before. People affected with hypertrichosis have excessive hair growth everywhere other than their palms and the soles of their feet. It can range from being super thick hair like pubes or beard hair, or it can be very soft and non-pigmented like baby hair. Now, this is an extremely rare mutation. Only 50 cases have been identified since the Middle Ages. And the Middle Ages were a freaking long time ago. It can be inherited, and it can also come up later on in life due to anti-seizure drugs or fetal alcohol syndrome. When it's caused because of a genetic mutation, then the person will be born with a lanugo hair covering their bodies, and normally that just sheds off, but for these people it just stays and just grows into thicker, more mature hair. Filling at number 3 slot is port wine stain. Now, I actually knew a girl in my drama program that had quite a big port wine stain on her face, so I was very pleasantly surprised when researching this one since I'd seen it in real life. Either way, a port wine stain is essentially the discoloration of your skin due to a vascular anomaly. Unlike vitiligo, where patches of skin start to lose pigment, this one results in red wine-looking patches of skin. They're mostly found on the face but can appear anywhere on the body. They start off looking pink and flat, but as the person grows older, the color deepens to a red or purple, and the skin itself could get thicker as well. It's caused by a mutation in the GNAQ gene. Now, number 2 is mermaid syndrome, scientifically known as cyanomelia. It's when a baby is born with a single lower limb which resembles a mermaid's tail. Mind you, this is rare as hell. There's only been 300 cases in history, and the chances of having it are about 1 in 60,000 to 100,000. It's more common in males than females, and most kids born with it unfortunately die soon after. This fusion of both legs results in a plethora of health issues like abnormalities of renal organs, abnormality of the pelvis, lack of lower spine, and more. The cause of mermaid syndrome is still very much up for debate. Initially, it was thought it was due to a lack of blood supply to the lower half of the body while in the womb, whereas other people think it's due to the mutations in both BMP7 and TSG1 genes. And finally, at number 1 is the LAMELLAR ichthyosis. Shout out to my mum for suggesting this one because I would have never known about it otherwise. Now, this is a very rare genetic condition that affects the skin, wherein you're born with a very shiny, waxy layer of skin that is meant to shed off within 2 weeks. The skin under that is very red and scaly, and most people have their lips and eyelids turn outwards as well. After the skin sheds off, most people develop large, dark, plate-like scales covering their body, and after looking at multiple pictures of it, it really reminds me of Grayscale from Game of Thrones. 90% of the cases of this condition are caused due to mutation in the TGM1 gene, and it's usually inherited. And that is it for today's video, guys. Huge shout out to my mom because she gave me quite a few of the ones on this list. Shout out to you. Either way, let me know what you guys think in the comments below. Let me know if you have any of these and what your life experience is. I'd love to know. As always, I'm your host, Eamon Hassan, and I'll catch you in the next one. Bye. Case of reptilian hearts. What are you eating? Whoa, what are you eating? Okay, you're not eating anything. That look like thickened skin with just grooves on top. It's not genetic, it's not environmental, and again, focus. It is not environmental. It again happens when there's a mutation in the AT.